Hi there. I want to thank you for making a pledge to public television during the March 1992 pledge period. This was at a time when we at Michigan Outdoors really needed a show of support amongst the public. You know what, with the lawsuit and all that? Well, you people pulled through with flying colors. We set pledge records on several stations, which was something we really needed to do in our 11th year here on public television. So I want to thank you so much for that. We prepared this tape especially for you. This is our wild game cooking contest without pledge breaks, running right straight through, followed by some recipes that we think are, probably some of the most entertaining that we've had on Michigan Outdoors. So you sit back, relax, and before we go on, again, I want to say thank you for your support of Michigan Outdoors on public TV. We have 5 categories of recipes: dips and appetizers, chowder soups and stews, fish, small game, and big game. These will be judged by a panel of chefs and celebrities. This is coming up in just a moment, so you stay tuned. I'm often asked, what is hunting and fishing all about anyway? You know, people talk about sport fishing and sport hunting. Well, sport is just a small aspect of hunting and fishing. It refers to the challenge or the accomplishment of bringing home fish and game. But hunting and fishing are much more than sports. In a broad sense, they're food-gathering activities. That's the only reason a sportsman pulls the trigger on game or kills a fish and puts it in the ice chest. He wants to bring it home to eat it. Now, we can always hunt for sport with a camera, but when we want to bring home food for the table, we take a gun, and that's what tonight is all about. Our cook-off once again took place at Coyle's Restaurant in Houghton Lake. John McKenzie, the head chef at Coyle's, is one of our 5 distinguished judges, along with Pat McGuire, proprietor of Papa Bear's in Luzerne. The undisputed dean of wild game cook-off judges is Bob Garner, famed for both his eating skills and his wit. You'll witness both in the next hour. Kathy Beitler makes her debut as a judge this year. She knows wild game cooking inside out. And also new to our panel is Charlie Keenan, director of the Outdoors Club SOS Bureau and a gourmet in his own right. Let's lead off this culinary adventure with dips and appetizers, where venison pizza dip squares off against walleye crab stuffed potatoes. The pizza dip is an adaptation of a popular party dip recipe, but uses venison sausage as the meat. Now, it's a hot dip, one that echoes the taste of pizza, and its originator, Jack Morrow from Frankenmuth, says its beauty is in its simplicity.
It's just an appetizer that you can use just about anything with, and we decided to adapt it to venison. And the venison just adds that little extra flavor.
What does it have in it?
A little Philly cream cheese. It has venison sausage on the top, sprinkled with some green onions. It has some pizza sauce over the top of the cream cheese with a little garlic powder in it and a little onion flavoring to it, and then mozzarella over the top. It's easy to prepare, and so it's easy to get ready for things.
This next recipe is a little more complicated, a little more elegant, but also very trendy. Walleye crab stuffed potatoes, an appetizer for those who enjoy seafood. There aren't very many chefs who come up with as many award-winning recipes as Lois Bone from Sebewing. She has a way with fish and likes to experiment with ingredients that might be out of the ordinary.
Well, it has walleye cheeks and crab meat and sour cream and a little mayonnaise, that's all.
Wow.
A little Chianti pepper.
How'd you come up with this one?
And by guess and by gosh.
So you've tried this out with different variations other than this?
Sometimes with like broccoli and cheese in it, but
What if somebody doesn't have walleye cheeks?
you can substitute plain walleye or bay scallops. That's what the original recipe was with bay scallops.
Ah. It's going to be a tough battle here, I think, for these judges. You ready to let them go at it?
Sure.
Okay.
The venison pizza dip, you could really taste the sausage in there. It was good, but I'm going to go with the walleye crab stuffed potatoes. You could have maybe 2 or 3 good friends over and watch some football and consume a big plate of those.
No kidding. Now, John McKenzie has quite a hole in his twice-baked potato here.
Yep, I enjoyed them both tremendously. The potato and the pizza are both semi-heavy. I mean, they have a lot of cream to them, sour cream, cream cheese. I enjoyed them both thoroughly. I personally had a hard time bringing the walleye out of the potato, the flavor. It's kind of hidden, so I picked the spicy pizza
Oh, no kidding.
and the venison pizza dip.
Pizza dip, okay. We have a tie going into Bob Garner here, who has nothing, absolutely nothing to show.
I've been a member of the Clean Plate Club since 1953, okay? Well, I started out with the Clean Bottle Club at that point, or whatever. But anyway, I have to say, between the two recipes, I would have judged them just on the merits of taste. I would judge them totally equal. In the category of appetizers, though, I have to say that if the potato had been cut into smaller pieces, God forbid, but if it had been cut into smaller pieces and served that way as an appetizer, I think I might have even voted for that. But in this category, the baked potato was fantastic. I'm going to choose the venison pizza dip instead, and what I'm going to do is ask the viewers out there to try both of these during a football game sometime and use the potato as the main course, and this is the appetizer, and you'll have a winner.
Oh, well, okay. Lois, don't have a tear in your eye here. We're not done yet.
Well,
Pat McGuire.
I think both these recipes could have been actually put into another category. You know, with baked potato could have been a fish category. I'm glad to see that someone's using the cheeks, which is probably the best part of the fish. I'm glad to see that. The pizza was wonderful. That could be in a category all by itself. So we know I'm the resident pizza man on this program. Right, Bob? You know?
bet, yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with, I just made my decision, with the pizza. Because for the reason of the venison sausage was wonderful. And I'd like that recipe. You know, that was great. And that's what did it for me.
Pizza man went with his roots. Here, Kathy Beitler, you don't have a tie to break.
No, I don't. I'm glad about that. I agree with Bob. I think that the potatoes could have been just a little bit smaller. And it was hard. It was really hard, but I'm going to go with the pizza dip.
You're going to go with the pizza
I
dip?
am. The venison in it, it was different than a pepperoni, that you can actually taste the venison come through in this. And that's what I'm going to
Kath,
do.
I've been to numerous restaurants with you. You always order the potato.
I know I do. And it'd make a great meal. I'd love this for a meal.
You
But
almost made a meal out of
I
it.
did.
You almost did.
Bob taught me this.
Well, how about that? Lois, you're still coming back with another category.
Yeah, later.
But by golly, that was an absolute winner because I've tasted these. Jack, congratulations, venison pizza dip.
Thank you.
Made
Thank
it
you.
in the appetizer category for Lois. No losers in this contest. Every finalist is a winner because they had to compete against hundreds of recipes to get here. Moving on to our next category, chowders, soups, and stews, we have repeat winner William Wiswell from Grand Rapids pitting his pheasant Frito chili against Michigan summer chowder created by Melanie Morris from Mount Pleasant. Now, Bill has been a finalist in our cook-offs a number of times before. He also loves to be a Mr. Wizard in the kitchen, creating new blends of tastes and textures, which he's done here with a chili you'd expect to contain venison. But oh no, he has to try it with ground pheasant. Not a common way to serve pheasant, but William Wiswell never set out to make a common recipe.
I've used it with pheasant, used it with rabbit, I've done it with chicken, I've done it with ground meats. I like it when it's chopped like this and you get the chunks though. And again, it's not the real thin, runny stuff. It's crispy because you put like Frito type chips underneath it and then Colby Jack cheese on the top. And I like serving it with a cornbread, and it just makes a nice meal.
From a hearty chili to a more delicate chowder, this summer chowder would be good year-round, and while you could make a meal out of it, it would also be excellent as an early course to a large meal, maybe to a charbroiled steak. Melanie Morris from Mount Pleasant talks about it with enthusiasm. It's one of her favorites.
It's a creamy corn chowder flavored with jalapeno peppers and cilantro and garlic and onion, and its feature is fresh native Michigan perch. And chowders are intrinsically fish-based, so why not perch? You can also substitute bluegill or crappie or any small panfish, and it makes a wonderful first course. It can serve about 6 people comfortably for a first course. Or my favorite is the main course with a substantial salad and some crunchy French bread. And it's very tasty, dish.
A seasoned winner versus a rookie in the recipe contest. Will it make a difference? Well, let's find out. Starting with the newcomer to our judging panel, Charlie Keenan.
I'm a chowder nut.
Are you?
I really like chowder. The pheasant was very good. You could taste the pheasant. It was a unique use of the pheasant. But this shouldn't be called Michigan summertime chowder. This is Michigan anytime chowder.
Anytime chowder?
And this is
tell.
probably the best chowder. The cilantro makes the recipe. It's the best chowder I've ever tasted.
Whoa. Whoa, Mr. McKenzie.
I tell you, I couldn't agree with him more on both dishes. As you can see here, there's tremendous portion of the pheasant prepared portion of the rest of the meal. A lot of meat in both of these. A lot of meat in the summer chowder also. Tomatoes, peppers, cheese all went together very well in the pheasant dish. The summer chowder, you know me, I'm kind of a person who likes extremes. Occasionally I'll eat too much or stay up too late, but this chowder was ultra smooth. I mean, it was really smooth. I had to vote for the chowder also.
Oh, two for the chowder. Now, Mr. Garner.
Well, there's one thing about William Westfall's recipes is they are never lacking substance, and this one is one recipe that you could eat for a main course very easily, and it is very, very tasty. The chowder, however, I have to tell you, I have to agree with Charlie, it's the best chowder I've ever eaten. But what it does that is so different from other chowders is, number one, it is not rich. It's not overwhelmingly rich. Number two, which is great in its favor, you can eat a lot of this stuff. Number two, it is a very fresh tasting chowder. It is the freshest thing that you'll have at your table, other than maybe some fruits or some freshly cut up
I have
vegetables.
no clue as to what he's going to vote for now. Now
And
you've
for
totally
that-
confused us. Will you
And
pop
for
out your
that,
vote?
and for that reason, for the best chowder in the world and the freshest tasting chowder,
No
I'm
kidding?
going to vote for the Michigan Summer Chowder.
Oh.
Hands down,
You know
4
what you've done?
spoons.
You know what you've done? You three have put the guilts on these two here, because I want to see what this is. Is this going to be a...
Can you go over to Kathy next? No.
I'll get between you here. So go ahead.
We discussed this thoroughly.
You did?
Yes,
And what
we
did you
did.
come up with?
Well, I'll tell you, the Frito chili, I tell you, it really, really, really is wonderful, and it's good. It's not what I expected, though, when I read the recipe. It's a little bit different. I would like to see it a little bit more saucier. On the other hand, with the chowder, if you take a look at the chowder, look at the consistency of her sauce, and that won't break anyway with the whipping cream in it. I mean, that's nice. I've got to go with the summer chowder. I think you did an excellent job. And Bill's never let me down before, and you didn't let me down today. But I've got to go with the chowder.
What do you
I
think,
agree. I think the chili isn't real spicy, and the pheasant really comes through for a chili recipe. But the chowder does say summer. I mean, it's light, it's great, it's, I don't think you can beat it. I'm gonna go with the chowder.
Holy cow. Somebody want to go up and tell Bill?
You don't want to? I don't want to.
No, I tell you. Well, Bill, what can I say? She did it with the cream. Maybe if you put that in a blender. You think?
Well, you know, I mean, maybe it's got to be for a younger set, people who still have teeth, but...
I knew. Okay. Bill, hey, high five there. Okay. Melanie, you did it.
Yes, I might warn you though, it may be light in taste and texture, but is not light in calories.
Oh, do they care?
Do they care?
Do
No,
they
maybe not.
care? I mean,
Please
Change my vote.
Hey, Freddie, this is my one chance in life to look a little thinner than I actually am between these guys. Who's worried about calories? You worried about them?
outstanding. Well, how about a round of applause here for both of these contestants? That's absolutely great. Thank you, brother. Our next category is fish. Lois Bone's walleye with clam stuffing versus Robert Perkins' squeaking bass rolls. Now, both contestants are previous winners, and they know how to create elegant-looking as well as elegant-tasting dishes. This time, Lois Bone went for a stuffed walleye that contains clams of all things, but she says this recipe is tasty and nutritious. Now, did the clams in that stuffing really make it through the meat? To add a flavor,
I don't think they've disrupted the taste of the walleye, no. They're not in it that long for the baking. So
Okay,
you're
now-
tasting two different things. You're tasting clam and then you're tasting the fish. This is more lean cuisine, if you're looking for a dietary type fish in that, there's basically no butters, no sauces, you know, unless you want to add the butter yourself. So if you're watching calories and fat intake, this is the way to go because there's virtually no fat in it.
You have no interest here on this panel.
Yeah, well,
Here's a recipe that sounds like an appetizer, rolled in bacon with cheese, cooked on the grill. A lot of people have trouble coming up with recipes that make bass taste decent, but Bob Perkins from Owasso knows how to do it. One of his secrets is in the marinade. Now keep in mind, this cook-off was taped in September, so bass season was open the day of our cook-off.
Just soak in a little bit of wine or water, whichever. That way you take the oils out of the bass and also the bacon that's wrapped up in a...
The bass that you got for this recipe, where did it come from?
Oh, it came from my brother-in-law's property. He's got some property on a private lake, and I go out there and I can't miss on catching bass. I get my limit every time.
How big?
This morning I got 18, 16 and a half, and a 14.
And that's what
That's
these judges
that's
are
what
eating?
these judges are eating. I caught those in 2 hours' time in pouring down rain.
Good man.
The judges look upon the fish recipes carefully. They're checking for fresh taste, good flavor, and a good-looking recipe that catches their eye.
First of all, the presentations of both of these recipes were fantastic. Seeing that walleye come to the table, that was great. The walleye has always been my favorite. But I think we've stumbled across probably the outdoor tip of the year here in Michigan Outdoors. If soaking the bass in the wine and water makes it taste like that. I've never been a bass eater, but this was fantastic, and the squeaking bass is getting my vote on this one.
No kidding. Mr. McKenzie, you had two gorgeous plates to look at.
They were both wonderful items. You know, walleye is a fabulous eating fish.
Oh, is this another butt? Do I hear it coming up?
No. And he's correct about bass. Everyone has a bad time with their bass. Normally it's kind of mealy. I wasn't even sure this was bass. It was so nice and flaky and white. It's got to be the best piece of bass I ever had. It was nice. And the walleye was...
Go right on, John.
Also
Go right on.
well baked. It presented very well, the whole fish. It was scaled without rupturing the skin. Had beautiful presentation. And I don't want to do a butt here. I think I want to try to pass on this one, not vote right
You
now.
can't. Kathy, can he pass?
No.
He can't
They've
pass.
been
He
starting
can't
this
pass.
end of the table. Okay, I
Go
will.
for it, John.
I'll pick the bass.
You'll pick the bass? Boy, that was
It was too hard. It was too hard.
too difficult.
I'm stressed. I need a rest.
Oh, he's stressed. Okay. Well, what kind of stress do we have down here, guys?
Lots of stress, because that bass was as well prepared as any I've ever eaten. You're right. Usually bass tastes more like a bale of straw than it does good fine fish, but this one certainly qualifies as good fine fish. However, this is a butt. However, Lois Boning has outdone herself with the recipe. This walleye is as great tasting, and it is very simple. As she said, the walleye really
He's getting
stands
wound up,
alone.
isn't he? He's getting wound up.
It is.
Okay.
It is fantastic, and it's as fun to watch being presented as it is watching come to the net. That is a great fish, and a walleye with clam stuffing gets my vote hands down. Maybe the best fish recipe I've ever eaten. Seriously.
And that's only about the 100th time I've heard him say that.
But so far, it's the best one I've ever eaten.
Okay.
It's a rough decision for me. I'd like to say something on the presentation. These two plates that came out today, every year things seem to get more and more and more better looking, and it tastes better too. But the presentation, it would be a 10 on both of these. Then I have to look at what I have in front of me. That's what the judging is all about. Now, my bass was not cooked all the way. It wasn't cooked as much as it should have been, but the flavor, it was good. I think it was a little bland. Now, on the walleye, I think it was a little dry also. Boy, I got nothing good to say today.
You know what? You know what,
I'm gonna get
Pat?
mugged on the way home.
No, he's getting full. That's the problem.
Full of what? Is what the question is. But I tell you what, I guess what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to go with the walleye.
Uh-oh. Okay. Let's put the heat on the little lady right here.
I knew this was going to happen.
Okay, there you go. Look at them both in the eye.
Oh, I can't do that. Let me look at these dishes. The dishes were great. Presentation, like everybody has said, was just incredible. I did
Come on,
have
pop
a
the card,
real
pop the
hard
card.
time.
Don't.
You really want to see this,
I
don't
wanna see
you?
the
I'm
card.
not sure. Can I pass? Can
No,
I?
you can't.
I'm gonna go with a walleye. The bass, if I had to fix bass, it'd be like that. But the walleye, I think, I agree with Bob. It's the best walleye recipe we've had. That's what I'm going with.
You put me in a real jam, Kath.
I know I did. You told me I had to go. I went.
Oh, well, I told you, I made the comment before we came up here that if this bass recipe doesn't make it, I'm going to drop my shorts right in front of everybody here.
I know.
Because I said that was, I
You
can't
shouldn't have told
believe,
me that.
I can't believe, Bob, I lied. Congratulations for doing the best job with Bassett I've ever tasted, Lois. By golly. You did it, but it was tough. It was a squeaking fish category. No kidding there. Well, congratulations for these people who...
The judging gets tougher and tougher each year because the dishes get better and better. Now, this makes for some real dilemmas with the judges.
Man, there are no losers here. We have not had a loser recipe in this recipe contest. One that, you know, I might think, it's not all that good. Haven't had one in 4, 5, 6 years. In fact, I really can't remember one we did have. But this year and last year especially, the recipes are so far superior. And there are no losers. If you know, the folks out of there ought to know to get a cookbook, because they will find more ways to enjoy wild game from the recipes these folks send in. If they get a cookbook and take some of the recipes they saw tonight, they're just going to really enjoy wild game. They'll want to hunt more. They'll want to get out more.